Good morning, Codger Biker here, and today I'm counting down things to know about the 790 Adventure 20 down to 11. Or should that be up? And at number 20, it is accessories, or as they're probably known, KTM power parts, which I've never really understood. The problem is there are accessories starting to become available because the bike's so new, but you have to wait for ages, and I mean ages, for anything. For instance, I ordered the SW Motec GPS mount 3 weeks ago. It was supposed to have a 4-day delivery time, still not here. Been told I won't get it till July. I ordered the low seat, paid for it. Was told it would be about 2 or 3 weeks. Then it was put back to May, then it was put back to June, and yesterday it was put back to October. At which point I said, can I have my money back please? So I shan't be getting the low seat. I didn't actually want it for the height, I just thought it looked an interesting shape. Thought it might be more comfortable. So that's gone by the by. I also ordered an SW Motec centre stand, which was, for some reason or other, which has never happened before from SW Motec, got tangled up somewhere along the line and delayed. But thankfully that arrived this morning.
Oh, what have we here? SW Motec. It's a box. What's on the box? To Codger Biker, Planet Earth mostly. Oh, that must be the new centre stand. Hooray!
So basically, there aren't as many accessories as you probably find for other bikes at the moment, naturally. But even when they are available, this KTM power parts thing is unreliable. Oh, by the way, I recorded this yesterday. My camera overwrote it. It must have been in dash cam mode. Brilliant. So, if there's any continuity in this that looks odd, that's the explanation. You probably saw my cheat sheet there. I keep forgetting which one I'm on, so I actually wrote it down. How organised is that? Number 19. If you buy the KTM 790 Adventure that I've got, the bike with no name, the Clint Eastwood bike, some people call it the S, which other people say, no, you can't call it the S, only the R can be called the R. Well, basically, you haven't got an R, and you will be reminded of this constantly. Mine's an R, I got an R. As though somehow, in life, you've failed. If you'd only worked a little bit harder, you too could have had an R. Well, let me tell you, I spent almost as much as an R on this by the time I'd added rally mode and quick shift, one or two other things. So I could have easily had an R. There's an old saying in golf. Golf, you say? Yes. And the saying is, it's not the archer, it's the arrow. So the R is an absolutely brilliant bike. I had a go on one yesterday, really liked it. But for this archer, it's not the correct arrow. And I think a lot of us, I'm the same. We get carried away, we want the best, or I just spend a little bit more. That one's got to be better because it's more expensive and it's got more suspension travel and it's adjustable. And that's great, and I'm not putting anybody down who gets one of those, but it's probably not the best arrow for everybody. For me, this arrow, the 790, is just the better bike for my skills, my age, my height, my weight, things I want to do. It is the better bike for me. That doesn't mean it's better than the R, I'm not saying that, and it doesn't mean the R is better than the Clint Eastwood bike, the no-name. But it is something that you'll come up against if you get the standard models. Oh, mine's an R. Why didn't you get an R? Because I chose not to. On the positive side, it is, I think, a plus that KTM brought out the two versions, because it gives more people the opportunity to ride one of these bikes who might otherwise have been put off by the height. I would have got an R if it was the only one available, probably. But then again, I'd have been looking at the Tenere 700, which is the same height, and probably have gone with that just on the cost. I don't know. This was the only bike that met my criteria. If I'd have designed a bike for myself, it probably would have been this, although I never would have thought of those low tanks. I probably would have given it a boxer engine like my car. Number 18. If you get either of these bikes, get the Quick Shift Plus. I'd always wondered what was the point of a quick shifter. Couldn't see the point of it being quite old school, being quite old, let's face it. But having had the Duke, which came with the quick shifter enabled for free, it's absolutely brilliant when you want to just blast away. It's great fun, and it is easier to ride with a quick shifter. I do find I don't use it very much going down, but I do use it going up. Want it? I use it going up nearly all the time, so I wouldn't really buy one of these bikes without the quick shifter. I think it's brilliant. So there you are, not quite such an old codger after all. I too can have fun. Likewise, at number 17, there are some people who think that rally mode is only for the R version and that it's only available on that, which is Bolloxios, because I've got rally on my bike, costs £140. If you get in either of these bikes, well, if you get the R, it comes with it anyway, but if you don't get the R, get rally mode. It's a blast. You can go into rally mode on the fly. Basically, it sharpens up the throttle response, a bit like sport mode on the Duke, which is brilliant fun. It just makes you smile. And seriously, you can change the traction control from 9 levels as you're going along, just on the up and down keys. So I wouldn't get one of these bikes without rally mode. That's Codger's advice. Rally mode, quick shifter. Get both, whichever bike you get. They're great. Similarly, number 16, heated grips. You might think that you don't need heated grips, but I can assure you, well, in the UK at least, you do. Here we are in summer, it's 14 degrees. If it drops 1 more degree as it did yesterday, I shall be putting them on, and they work fine. They come with 3 settings, but honestly, 2 of the settings are useless, so you can only really use them on the highest setting. They're not as hot as the Oxford heated grips. If you want really warm or hot ones, or you're used to those, you can get those fitted just the same. But I'd haggle when you're buying the bike for the dealer to throw them in. Don't get the bike without them, guys. It's my Codger's advice. We'll now jump to 15 down to 11, which I did manage to record yesterday and have kept. And you'll notice that I'm not on this road anymore. I'm actually on my way back from Colwyn Bay after having had the new TFT fitted. It's 9:32, the temperature is 13 degrees, still a bit spitty. The heated grips have gone on. That's so nice. Don't get one without heated grips, not in this country anyway. Well, here's something for my friend Sergeant Major Chris. I hope you're getting well, mate. Get in touch sometime. And also for my friend Sean, who likes these sort of things. This is just a little car park in Colwyn Bay. It's like the car park for a school. But there's a plaque here that says, "Here stood the Wireless College, 1923 to 1970, founded by Gordon S. Whale. Young men and women were trained here to operate and repair communications equipment, primarily for the Merchant Navy, though many also served in the armed forces or in government communications. This plaque also commemorates the hundreds of radio officers who gave their lives in the performance of their duty and for their country in times of conflict. This stone was laid in 2007 by former instructors and students of the college scattered throughout the world, but reunited by our website www.wirelesscollege.co.uk. Right, so what was once obviously a college is now just a rock at a car park. Many of those people probably died in the Second World War in the convoys around the world, and as a licensed radio ham myself, I do find it interesting that these monuments are around.
been a radio amateur for 30 years and had a long time interest in radio, primarily theme music and Radio Caroline, Radio Luxembourg, and then later into transmitting myself. Nothing to do with the KTM 790 Adventure, but some of my friends will appreciate it.
Okay, Codger Biker on the way back and carrying on the countdown, and I think we got to number 15. And number 15 was accessory socket. Yeah, it's very good to have an accessory socket. As you can probably see, I'm actually powering my sat-nav on it at the moment. A couple of things about it. It's a 12 volt old school cigarette lighter socket, but you can, as I've done several times, plug in USB adapter. It works fine. One thing I did notice was it's got a 15 amp fuse on it, which is also, I believe, in combination with the heated grips. So I don't know what the heated grips take, but say they take 3 amps, that's a guess. That leaves you with 10 amps, 12 amps, whatever. Still plenty. But when I did try plugging an air compressor into it, it blew the fuse. I don't think it was the air compressor so much as the surge as when I turned it on. So if I'm ever going to run an air compressor, I shall run it directly from the battery and not from the accessory socket. Just something to know. Number 14. Related to the accessory socket is the fact that there is, underneath the seat of this bike, something called a tech box. Now, it's ideal for you to put your phone in, and if you have the appropriate equipment fitted, you can charge your phone underneath the seat. Unfortunately, to take you back to what I said earlier, I've not been able to find anywhere that sells the required USB under-seat charger as yet. But I think that will be quite useful for long journeys, because you can use charge your phone as you go along. And also, as the bike does have Bluetooth on it, it's quite handy to have your phone Bluetooth in. So that's the tech box. Number 13, KTM My Ride. Related to the tech box is the KTM My Ride app, which I haven't got on at the moment, which is a very basic sat-nav kind of system. Now, some people will find, as I did, that it doesn't work on their bike, and you may assume, as I did, that it was an extra, but it isn't. It's just that the early firmware, at least in the UK, it wasn't enabled. Once I went for the first service, I mentioned it, they enabled the firmware, and it came to life. I've actually done a video on it, if you check my channel, about how it works. It's quite a useful thing to have if you haven't got a sat-nav, or you don't want to take a sat-nav out with you because it's built into the bike. It's basic and mainly for roads, I think, but it does work with your phone. Oh, and a £7.99 or £8.99 app. Can't remember which one it was or how much. Sorry, I can't remember how much it was, but you need the app too on your phone. If you download the maps, which are free, well, included, you don't need to use your 4G. Just use a GPS on the phone. Number 12. Number 12 is something that if you've had an Africa Twin, as I have, you'll be very pleased about. So far, there has been no sign of the spokes corroding. Now, I have polished them regularly, which is not easy to do. It's like being a kid again, bashing your knuckles on the rims of the bike and the sprocket. But I just polish mine every other week or so, keep them shiny. There's been no sign of any corrosion, so they look good to me. I don't know what they're made out of. Doubtless somebody can tell me. Number 11, and number 11 is related to the spokes in that the wheels are tubeless. One of the nuisances of the Africa Twin was it used tube tyres, so if you got a puncture you have to take it all off. Real hassle. I've used a plug-in tool on my other bikes with tubeless tyres. It works very well. Dynaplug, I think it's called. I'll put the reference somewhere. So I just keep that with me and the bike. And a mini compressor, which I mentioned earlier, so hopefully with the tube tyres, sorry, the tubeless tyres, I should be okay if the worst happens. So that's it today from Codger Biker. Nice trip out to Colwyn Bay. The new speedo is on, it looks fine, everything seems to be working. Thanks to Colwyn Bay there for seamless service, they did the job very quickly. It's Codger Biker, bye! No, Ludwig, I'm not talking to myself. They're my friends. They're not imaginary friends. Yeah, you've got an imaginary voice, I know. Oh, darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely summer. Here comes the sun, little darling. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.